Hello there, I'm Louis Largent. To my right is Bret Michaels, who plays in a band called Poison. And you got a new album out, Bret, and it's 1993, and it seemed like a couple years ago it would be pretty weird for you to be sitting here talking about a new Poison album in 1993. You had a kind of a falling out with your guitarist, and you were doing some solo gigs. Were you ever going to break up the band and just call it quits?
No, absolutely not. And that's the solo thing too was kind of a weird thing, because what happened was and as we all well know, the MTV Awards, and I want to say '91 was not exactly our night of. It
was a transition year.
It was I'll tell you what it was. It came off the Flesh and Blood tour, which was a big success, and then all of a sudden things just started falling apart between mainly CeCe and myself, you know, and we tried to work things out. And sometimes when you're on the road like that, the littlest problem, when you don't work it out, becomes a big problem, you know. And amongst the Bobby's drug problems and everything else that was going on with the band at the time, it just got weird too much too soon, or whatever you want to call it, you know. And all of a sudden at the MTV Awards that night, you know, we were just trying to work it out between CeCe and myself, and we got there, and it was not a pretty sight, you know. He had made it well aware that he really didn't, you know, his heart wasn't into the band anymore and doing the band thing. Bobby had just come out of a rehab, and then after that night needed to go back into a rehab, you know what I'm saying? Because I went across the street and just got trashed, you know. And that was it, and CeCe was gone after that night. So what happened was we started trying to put everything back together between Ricky and Bobby and myself. Never did it hit me that I ever wanted to stop the band. We'd all come from Pennsylvania, real small town, and worked so hard to get where we were going and stuff. And to be quite honest with you, the whole solo thing was nothing more than me just doing cover material. I came through New York and a bunch of different places and just played real small club gigs, just something for me to kind of forget about everything. It's kind of depressing time. And then once Bobby was out of the rehab and doing real good, we started looking for guitar players, and we had tons of packages, and we started going through guys, and it was really confusing. Where do you start? You know, I mean, I'm looking through Bam magazine. I'm like, okay, guy likes to rock, likes Rolling Stones. You know, I mean, where do you start looking? And so I looked in Guitar Player magazine, and we were looking for a guy who we wanted as a full-on member. We didn't want to get like just a hired gun. Here's your salary, come in. We wanted someone who was going to write with us, work with us, and was real hungry. And Richie just fit the bill. He was absolutely great. Came into rehearsal. We wrote some songs together, and all of a sudden we just never stopped writing. It just kept going, and one day we said, well, guess what? You know, a couple other guys in between Richie had come in and would set up and play, and we're good, and we'd like set up Richie's stuff again. We just kept writing. We had about 6 or 7 songs before we finally just said, you know what, Richie, this is it. You're in the band. He's like, oh, cool. And then we just went from there. We never even
Well,
stopped.
we're gonna actually move on to happier times after the break. We're gonna look at a new video from 9 Inch Nails. We're gonna look at your new video and talk about the new song that's coming up after this.
I wish CeCe, I know Bobby and Ricky do a lot of luck. I knew he was unhappy at the end. He wanted to do his own solo thing and stuff like that. And I can't hate him, because we spent a lot of great years together. And, you know, I just, what can I say? When we got done and things kind of broke up, me and CeCe went through this kind of hate thing in the press, you know, because he came out saying this and I said that. And it was sort of, you know, you can't help it. And, but no, now that it's all sort of said and done, I look back on it, and it was a lot of great years together, and I hope he goes on and does great.
Okay, that's enough of the past. You got a new song.
I cleared my conscience now. I'm done. All right.
It's tell us how this song was created. There's
together. They sounded absolutely amazing, but I was just like, man, I can't picture the song, because the song was finished. I'm like, I can't picture the song with a choir on it. So they asked me to leave the studio. I came back a couple days later, and
there it was.
It absolutely just took the song to just a completely new place. It was just like, wow, it sounded great. And the girl was ad-libbing on top of my ad-libs at the end of the song, and it just really came off great.
And a big-time hit here at MTV, and we're going to take a look at it right now. Here's Stan from Poison.
Cool.
Largent. We're here with Bret Michaels of Poison, and it's been a couple of years, of course, since you released your last album, and a lot has happened in music since then. What do you think about all the goings-on in rock and roll these days?
I think music today, and just like I said at all times, I think it keeps getting better and better. I mean, back, I never expected I'd see the day when you would have rap mixed with Aerosmith. You know what I mean? Run DMC and Aerosmith. You know, I never thought I'd see that day, and it came together, and then all of a sudden, you know, you've got the whole new, so to speak, the grunge scene, Seattle, and all that kind of stuff. But if you really think about it, the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Soul Asylum and even Faith No More, those guys have have been playing it for years, you know, but Seattle has a lot of great bands coming out of it right now, and I think that out of any scene that pops up, you're going to have I think you're going to have a lot of bands, and as soon as the scene happens, all the record companies run there and they sign everybody.
Yeah, sure.
And all of a sudden from that, the best ones will come out, and they'll be around 10 years from now. You'll still be listening to great music from them. And like, you know, you listen to like Chris Cornell's voice and stuff, you know that guy's going to be around. And Pearl Jam, I think they're great. And the Alice in Chains guys, they better be around because Jerry owes me money for some stuff he ran over out of my property. So anyway, and yeah, so I think that scene's great, but I think music is, I think, you know, if you really think about it, the fans or the people that are buying music, you, me, whoever's buying music, I just think that it's so open right now, and that, you know, you got stuff like the Black Crowes, you can turn around and have Nirvana, and you can go to the records and buy that stuff, and that's great.
Real quickly, before we go, touring, is that going to happen for you this year?
Yeah, absolutely. We go April, we're going to head over overseas to Europe, and then after that we come back to the States, May, June, July, August. Trying to think of this, I just had to schedule my hand.
Pressure, come on.
Doink, and it's over. Yeah, and then we go after that South America and Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and back to America after that again. So I'm very excited, man. It's a show we've been working on a long time. It's going to be great.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you. See you soon.
You got it. Thanks for having us on.
And we're going to take a look at one of those bands we were talking about earlier. Here's Soul Asylum with Somebody to Shout.